ordered an investigation into the non-implementation of the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme. This followed a motion by Rep. Mohammed Gudaji Kazaure, which was unanimously carried. Mr. Speaker, the coordinator of the scheme was invited to give account of the non-takeoff of the scheme, and the House was presided by the Deputy Speaker, the Right Honorable Idris Ahmed Wase. Was this again the case of the Deputy Speaker against the agencies involved or the coordinator of that program? And so, Mr. Speaker, a time has come that the responsibility or the duties of the House should not be accredited to an individual, that the decision of the House should be portrayed as the decision of the House. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, this is a personal note, and I believe that my constituency supports me, that I am urging at this level, Mr. Speaker, that the opposition as embodied in the minority leaders who initiated the probe is not ready to be distracted and deterred from pursuing this investigation to a logical conclusion, because it represents a fight by Nigerians against the systemic rot in the correctional service. Nigerians are urged to disregard.
This is the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, transmitting to you live proceedings from the House of Representatives. I am Lami Ali. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, is presiding over the day's sitting, and at this moment, Representative Onofio Luke is presenting a matter of urgent public importance.
Honorable House assented to Mr. President that we will always take the decision in the best interest of Nigerians. And what is the aspiration and the yearnings of Nigerians? That those who are given responsibility of office should be made to account. Mr. Speaker, we are asking at this point in time that the House should partner, and that has been our resolve, that the House should partner with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria where there is need to do so, and in the overall interest of Nigeria, for the benefit of the delivery of democracy dividends for Nigerians. And that the House leadership and the entire House has been doing in this ninth assembly, and nobody will deter us from doing that. And in doing so, the best way to partner is that when monies are given, so that the evidence of what Mr. President has done should be seen. When monies are given, Mr. Speaker, those monies should be made to be accounted by those who are given those budget allocations. So on a final note, Mr. Speaker, it is my privilege to be well represented. It was a decision I took. I did not join. I personally did not know about any fight between Mr. Speaker and any minister. And the decision I took yesterday is not joining Mr. Speaker to fight with any minister. It is a decision we took for the best interest of this country. On a lighter note, Mr. Speaker, why should I do so when I should be preparing my party to take over government in 2023, and then that you will be coming here, and then we will be able to accept and deal with you, and then ask you to come over to the People's Democratic Party so that you can enjoy the benefit of the new government to rescue Nigeria. Thank you very much, and may God bless you, sir.
You just had to finish that beautiful presentation on a partisan note. But that's understandable. That's understandable. Yes, Honorable Luke, just like you and everybody else, we all read about the unfortunate slant that was given to a well-crafted, thought-out motion by the minority leader of the House of Representatives. And ordinarily, like many other such publications, I chose to ignore the insinuations that were being made. But since you have brought it up, it's not just your privilege that has been breached. It's actually the privilege of the whole House. Because it's a way of gagging the House to do and stopping the House from doing its legitimate or carrying out its legitimate responsibilities. But like everything else, I believe these are things that we should ignore. These are things that we should ignore, and there will be many more of those, especially as we go into an election year. There will be many more such publications full of innuendos and lies and misinformation. And we cannot at every turn address such things. As important as this is, it has a potential of distracting us and wasting the time of the House. We've just spent 15 minutes listening to your wonderful and heartfelt presentation. And I hope that those who practice yellow journalism will take note of the things you have said. This House will not be distracted. These guys out there do more harm than good, and they seek to do nothing but sow discord between partners in government. But we will not bow to such. Like you rightly said, this House has we've brought up motions, and the records are there, that even affect personal friends of mine and personal friends of other people here on the floor. Our motions on the floor are not based on relationships. We swore to the Constitution to do only those things that will uphold us as a nation, and that's what we will continue to do. Unfortunately, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But we will not allow this to distract us. Let them continue to practice their journalism the way they know how to. But I believe Nigerians are discerning enough to be able to shift, to be able to separate truth from what we now know as fake news. So thank you very much, Honorable
Yes, sir.
Luke. Yes, the Leader of the House.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My respected colleagues, members of this hallowed green chamber, the House of Nigerian people. I remain Honorable Ado Dogwa, representing the good people of Dogwa, Chudunwada Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, like you all know, I am from the commercial nerve center of the northern part of the country, Kano. Mr. Speaker, I rise not only to add my voice to the very beautiful presentations made by Right Honorable Luke. Mr. Speaker, I rise to reinstate. Mr. Speaker, I rise to identify and consolidate the remarks you made following his personal explanation. I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that the point he presented was not a personal explanation as an individual. I think the point he raised here and the comment he also made must have to be seen from the perspective of the institutional existence of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I rise here today as leader of this honorable House, the 9th House of Representatives, which you proudly lead. That this kind of activities, actions and inactions by the so-called our colleagues in the media, I am proudly a media man. I am proudly a media man, and I repeat, I'm a media man. This kind of actions and inactions that have been deliberately perpetuated against institutional legislative responsibility of this institution, the National Assembly, as in the case of Nigeria, must be condemned in entirety. This was not the first time this House was misrepresented, sometimes on the basis of individual presentations on the floor of this House. Sometimes it has gone to the level even of decisions and resolutions taken and decided by the chair in the capacity of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, we must have to collectively condemn these actions, not only call on such baseless allegations to continue to stop them, not only to call on them to stop it. Mr. Speaker, I want to rise and also indulge the understanding of honorable members on this floor that we must go beyond verbal condemnation. This is democracy. We have the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We also have our own rules that govern our activities in the floor of the House of Representatives. These are what we call the rules of the games. And I believe the fourth estate of the realm, the media, which I said I proudly belong, no, they cannot be exceptional as far getting to comply with these set-down rules. Yellow journalism, petty journalism, discrediting journalism by mispresenting institutional positions is not something that is left out within the content and the context of our laws in the land. I want to say and urge my honorable members that we must find time and look at some of these inactions, come up with some frameworks, and look inward into the Constitution and even into the rules governing our own conduct in the House, which of course the media cannot be exceptional, and see how we can take necessary steps to really take punitive measures, to really take measures that will stop them from continuing to be doing this thing, because at the end it will create a lot of problems. Sometimes this misrepresentation can lead to a lot of catastrophe. It can lead to disaster, because this time of fake news, this time of dangerous news, this time where news are being unnecessarily peddled out without basis, Nigerians must be protected. And the only institution that can protect Nigerians from this fake and very dangerous and catastrophic news is this institution, where we stand and serve as custodians of the laws of the Federation. Mr. Speaker, I want to personally thank once again Honorable Luke, even though from the side of opposition, even though I'm also very skeptical as to whether he was actually doing that in the interest and overall interest of Nigeria or in the interest of the PDP, which I'm not sure. But at least from the surface of the things, he has done a very good job to protect this institution and to protect the person and the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and whoever is going to preside in this chair, including the Deputy Speaker. This House must rise to protect you, and we stand by you and behind you day and night to make sure that nobody is distracted, and this institution cannot be distracted in the discharge of our lawful responsibilities as members representing the entire people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your doggedness. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I thank you for your commitment and your loyalty to your boss, the Speaker. Mr. Speaker and Deputy Speaker, I also thank myself for being very loyal boy around you guys. Honorable members, I also thank you for being very loyal and supportive of this leadership. We stand united, and the motto and the slogan still remains: nation building is a joint task. Everybody must join us to build our nation, Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless you.
Very well said, Leader of the House. Very well said. Now we move on to the real and more important business of the day, as in the other paper. Honorable Luke, your privilege is noted. Thank you. So there are no...
Honorable Gandhi, come, approach the chief whip.
Honorable Gandhi, approach the chief whip and don't come here.
Thank you.
Deputy Speaker, yes. What's your
You're still watching House Plenary, reaching you live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. The Deputy Speaker is now taking over the presiding of sitting for today. The Speaker has taken his exit. And some of the items listed in the day's other paper for consideration are the third reading of 4 bills, while 3 bills are up for second reading. Among the bills for second reading is a bill to amend the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. It seeks to prohibit discrimination against widows and all forms of repressive and degrading widowhood practices. The bill also made provisions for the definition of the offense of image-based sexual abuse under the Act, and also made provisions for penalty for offense of image-based sexual abuse.
Cap 010 Laws Federation of Nigeria 2004 to provide for the establishment of Federal Orthopedic Hospital Azare, Borno State, and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Pascal Obi, honorable members will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Thursday, 10 June 2021. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Obi is invited to present the report. Honorable Pascal, not on the floor.
What, Mr. Speaker?
Sorry.
Look at him there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I am Honorable Dr. Pascal Chigozie Obi. I represent the very good people of Idato North and Idato South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State, and I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, Cap 010, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for the establishment of Federal Orthopedic Hospital Azare in Borno State and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Seconder, part of the House.
Thank you, most distinguished Speaker and honorable colleagues. My name is Benjamin Okezie Carlo. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Ben, the Federal Constituency. Most distinguished Speaker, I'm from Abuja State, and I rise to second the motion ably moved by my dear friend and brother, the Chairman of Health Institutions. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Honorable Obi, please lay the report. Respected colleagues, the first order of the day is the third reading of the bill for an act to establish National Agricultural Development Fund for the purpose of providing funding for agricultural development in Nigeria and for related matters, standing in the name of the House Leader, Honourable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 10 February 2022. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be read a third time.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. My respected colleagues, members of this hallowed chamber, Honourable Ado Dogwa remains my name. Mr. Speaker, honourable members, I represent the people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. Honourable members, I am from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, honourable members, I rise as directed by the Speaker to move that a bill for an act to establish National Agricultural Development Fund for the purpose of providing funding and agricultural development in Nigeria and for related matters, HB 1319, be taken the third time on the floor of this important honourable House. Mr. Speaker, honourable members, I so move.
Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker and my distinguished colleagues, I am Comrade Peter Ohiozoji Akpatasi, MNI. I represent the great people of Akukere Federal Constituency. I am from the very politically peaceful state of Edo. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by the powerful leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Respected colleagues, the question now, the bill will be read a third time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honourable Speaker, honourable members, a bill for an act to establish National Agricultural Development Fund for the purpose of providing funding for agricultural development in Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read a third time and passed. Respected colleagues, the second order of the day is the third reading of the bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Birniwa, Jigawa State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and for other matters standing in the name of the House Leader. All members will call that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 10th February 2022. I therefore call on the Leader to move that the bill be read a third time.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable members, before I go ahead to move on the second item on the orders of the day, Mr. Speaker, I will assume you are today seated there 2 in 1. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honourable Femi Bajabiamila, who unavoidably has to travel this morning, and your humble self, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, wearing 2 caps on one head. Distinguished honourable members, Mr. Speaker, I need your attention. Distinguished honourable members, and my boss, the Speaker, I would like to share with you a very important and good news that today God Almighty, in His wisdom and powers, has granted victory to the APC in Kano State, and the structure of the party is now back into their rightful hands. I'm sure if the Speaker was here, he would have observed a lot of excitement, happiness on my face. Even in his absence, I will have to put on record that my caucus members of Kano, my other good members of the APC caucus on the House of Representatives will be glad to know and hear that the Court of Appeal today granted judgment in favor of the APC, the popular APC in Kano State. Honorable Sergius, this is a good information for you, and I thank God. I will also thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this success and victory at the Court of Appeal this morning. Mr. Speaker, I therefore move ahead to move that a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Birniwa, Jigawa State, to provide for full-time course, teaching instructions, and training in technology, applied sciences, arts and social sciences, humanities, and management, and for related matters, HB 383 be taken the third time. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Honorable Fulata, the Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business, with due respect, this very motion, all-important motion, is hereby moved to be taken for the third time.
The Deputy Leader, I don't know which of the motion you are seconding. Honorable Goro, we have already been told of the good news, so can you kindly take a seat? Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to throw party this morning.
Comrade. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, once again, Comrade Peter Ohiozodia Patterson, MNI, the representative of Akoko-Edo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I second the motion for the third reading of a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Brinawa, Jigawa State, to provide full-time courses, training instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts and social sciences, humanities, and management, and for related matters, HB 383. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Respected colleagues, the question now is that the bill be read the third time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education, Biruniwa, Jigawa State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Respected colleagues, the third order of the day is the third reading of the bill for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Courts Act 2010 and enact the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Courts Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdictions of the area courts to entertain both civil and criminal matters and for related matters. Standing in the name of the House Leader, all members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 10th February 2022. I therefore call on the Leader to move that the bill be read a third time. Once again, Leader, congratulations. And congratulations to family members of APC for allowing democracy to function properly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for that wonderful response. And I hope you will urge the others on the other side to join hands with the new leadership and make APC a great party in the state. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Before I take on the next item, Mr. Speaker, may I seek your leave and the leave of the House to take item 3 and 4 concurrently, Mr. Speaker and honorable members.
Go ahead.
In order to save our legislative time. Mr. Speaker, thank you for your good approval. I rise to move that a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Courts Act 2010 and enact the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Courts Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdiction of the area courts to entertain both civil and criminal matters, and for related matters, HB 67 be taken the third time. Mr. Speaker, I also move that a bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs Act Cap Laws of Nigeria 113, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs Bill to broaden the scope and functions of the Nigerian Institute of Institutional Affairs and more value to foreign missions, add more value to foreign missions, and provide for the power to conduct courses of instructions and learning, and to create an academic board to award postgraduate diplomas, PGD, and master's degrees in international relations, diplomatic practice, and for related matters, HB 1279 be taken the third time. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I move these two bills concurrently for the third reading.
Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Comrade Peter Akpatasin, MNI, representing Akoko Edo Federal constituency. I am from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion for the third reading of HB 67 and HB 1279. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Respected colleagues, the question now is that the two bills be read the third time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited to read their long titles.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Cost Act 2010 and enact the Federal Capital Territory Abuja Area Cost Bill to, among other things, expand the jurisdiction of the area courts to entertain both civil and criminal matters and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs Act, Cap N 113, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs Bill to broaden the scope and functions of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, add more value to foreign missions, and provide for the power to conduct courses of instruction and learning and create an academic board to award postgraduate diplomas and master's degrees in international relations, diplomatic practices, and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Respected colleagues, the fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to make economic and social rights in Chapter 2 justiciable under the Constitution and for related matters standing in the name of Honorable Ibrahim Banikuro, Babajide, and three other honorable members. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 16 November 2021, and now invite Honorable Banikuro to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Honorable Ibrahim Banikuro is not on the floor. I move that the second reading of the bill be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leave of the House. Respected colleagues, the sixth order of the day is commencement of the debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015 to prohibit discrimination against widows and all forms of repressive and degrading widowhood practices to make provisions for the definition of the offense of image-based sexual abuse under the Act and make provisions for penalty for offense of the image-based sexual abuse and related matters standing in the name of Honorable Adejero Adeogun and Honorable Sajes Ogun. All members will call the bill was consolidated on Thursday, 10th February 2022. I now invite Honorable Adeogun to move that the bill be read the second time.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Adi Joro Adeogun. I represent the very good people of Akoko Southwest Federal Constituency. I'm from Ondo State. I rise to move for the second reading of a bill for an act to amend the Violence Against People's Prohibition Act 2015 to prohibit discrimination against widows and all forms of repressive and degrading widow practices, and to make provision for the definition of the offense of image-based sexual abuse under the Act and make provision for penalty for offense of image-based sexual abuse and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sajos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My highly esteemed colleagues, I'm Sergius Ose Ogun. I represent Eastern Northeast, Eastern Southeast, and I'm from Edo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague Adi. I so second.
Can you lead the debate?
Right Honorable Speaker, I remain Honorable Adejo Radiogun, representing the people of Akoko Southwest Federal Constituency from Ondo State. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, I am pleased to lead the debate on this bill, which seeks to amend the Violence Against Persons Act of 2015. This bill proposes to amend 6 sections of the Violence Against Persons Act to make provisions to safeguard widows from violent and evil customary practices, denial of property rights, rape, forced marriages, and all other dehumanizing acts that undermine the dignity of the widow. The amendments sought are geared towards achieving the following. 1, define what constitutes harmful and degrading widow practices. 2, define what constitutes the rights of widows under the Act. 3, prescribe penalties for infractions against the Act. 4, reserving the 23rd day of May of every year as a national day for the prohibition of discrimination against widows, women, and girls. This is to bring the problem of discrimination against widows to national attention. 5, saddle the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons and Other Related Matters, NAPTIP, with the responsibility of administering the provisions of this bill and organizing events to commemorate the National Day for the Prohibition of Discrimination Against Widows, Women, and Girls, as established under Section 12 of this bill. Honourable Speaker, dear colleagues, death is inevitable. We have no control over it whatsoever. Sadly, in several parts of Nigeria, widows are made to pay heavy penalties for the painful departure of husbands that they loved and shared their lives with. They are stigmatized, isolated, treated like destitutes, and sometimes made to shave their hair. They are criminalized because even when a man dies at the age of 100, sometimes their widows are treated like murderers because the man who has attained the right age of 100 years dies. Unfortunately, most of these people are denied, widows are denied access to properties, in some cases denied access to their own children for reasons that have no place under any Nigerian law. Widowhood is not a choice. Widows are victims of the inevitability of death. So, why does our society criminalize the unfortunate incident of widowhood? Why are widows denied the right to mourn in peace? Why is the trauma of their loss met with more trauma rather than solace? Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I believe that we have a duty to right this wrong. These are our mothers, sisters, aunties, friends, colleagues, and they deserve our protection. This bill, when passed, will be recorded in history as one of the most important legislation passed by this ninth assembly. We will have succeeded in metaphorically giving to the widows in our nation what could be described as the widow's mite. I wish to therefore plead with honorable members of this very honorable House to support that this bill to prohibit discrimination and unwholesome practices against widows be read a second time. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Adegun, you seem to make a general statement. I don't believe that widows are discriminated in all parts of the country. I don't believe for. In my own climate, widows are so much valued. My mother, I want to give a typical example, was a widow. My father died while I was just at the age of 2 months. But she got the best of treatment and I got the best of treatment. It needs to address certain evils within some segment of society. I do not think it's all part of society. Thank you. The question now is that the bill be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015 to prohibit discrimination against widows and all forms of repressive and degrading widowhood practices, and to make provision for the definition of the offense of image-based sexual abuse under the Act, and make provision for penalty for offense of image-based sexual abuse and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development. Respected colleagues, the seventh order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to repeal the National War College Act, CAP, N82 Laws Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the National Defense College Bill and for related matters, standing the Honorable Aminu Ashiru Mani, All members will recall the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 9 December 2020. I now invite Honorable Mani to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it seems Honorable Ashur Mani is not on the floor. I move the second reading of the bill be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move.
Bill stepped down by the leave of the House. Respected colleagues, the eighth order of the day is a motion on committal of clauses 20, 24(2), subsection 2, and 25, subsection 2C of the National Health Insurance Act, repeal and enactment Bill 2021, standing in no Honorable Abubakar Hassan Flatter. Honorable Flatter is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Hassan Flatter. I represent Beniwa, Krika Samba, Guni Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, committal of clauses 20, 24, 2, and 25, 2C of the National Health Insurance Act, repeal and enactment Bill 2021, House Bill 117. House notes the National Health Insurance Act, repeal and enactment Bill 2021 was passed by the National Assembly and transmitted to the President for assent. Aware that upon a critical examination of the bill by the President, some fundamental issues in clauses 20, 24, 2, and 25, 2C, which require fresh legislative action, were raised. Desirous of the need to address the President's observation and make necessary amendments, House resolves to commit clauses 20, 24, 2, and 25, 2C to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Honorable Maki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Maki Elleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Malamuluri Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I raise to second the motion heavily moved by my senior colleague. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. The ninth order of the day is motion on need to establish an ultra-modern museum of national unity in Abuja, standing in the name of Honorable Obin Chidoka. Honorable Chidoka is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Obinna Chidoka, member representing Idemili North, Idemili South Federal Constituency of Nigeria, of Anambra State, Nigeria. I rise this afternoon to move a motion on the need to establish an ultra-modern museum of national unity in Abuja. That the House notes that museums are repositories of history, art, and practices of a people in a way that the future generation remains in touch with their ancestry, while the museum becomes a focal point of tourism. Also notes that Nigeria has a rich endowment of historical facts, artifacts, and monuments, which becomes imperative to explore a way that will draw the interest of the international community. Cognizance that a central ultra-modern facility with a capacity to hold over 250 cultural and ethnic heritage of the country will preserve identities and histories of Nigeria, promote tourism, and contribute to much needed foreign direct investment in the country. Also cognizance that the museum, when established, will serve as a repository for research and development, as well as provide a safe place to preserve priceless artifacts being returned to the country from across the globe. Aware that the facility will provide for other businesses to thrive and cater for tourists and other visitors as well as other services. Therefore, the House resolves to mandate the Committees on Culture and Tourism and the Federal Capital Territory to liaise with the relevant government agencies with a view to establishing an ultra-modern Museum of National Unity in Abuja and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Maybe before I go to look for a seconder, I thought this is an establishment matter, and so we cannot create an established organ using motions, but rather bill. And it will be like double work to do that, go back now again, come back. It will have just come up with a bill, and it will have suited our and save our legislative time. Yes, sir.
Right Honorable Speaker, I will beg your indulgence. Part of the reason being that I'm aware Honorable Sejos even wants to make an amendment. What we wanted to do was take it to the committees involved, get the necessary facts. There are so many things we need to get, and we'll put it into the bill.
Chidoka, you are an experienced legislator.
I know, sir.
So, and I want to leverage on that your experience.
Absolutely.
To do the right thing.
Yes, sir.
And by that, I will wish you to step down so that you go and do the needful. Even if you put a question, my brother Odul Munguno will use a language from the law firm to say it's like amounting to putting on nothing.
He's in support.
You are in support, Munguno?
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tar Munguno. I represent Marche Munguno in the Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly concur with the submissions made by you that it should come by way of a bill. Because even if it is established by an executive fiat, definitely there has to be a law to back it. So in as much as I am supporting it, Honorable Chidoka, I implore you to toe the argument of the Speaker so that you come by way of a bill, so that it can be consummated wholly. It's better. So that it will be consummated wholly.
Thank you, Barrister Ahmed Tahir Munguno.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Even if it will put on the Hansard that this is very important, as you've noted, and as he has also observed, so we can go back and bring a proper establishment bill. There's a reason I wanted to put it this way, but by your more experience, of course, we'll put a bill and we'll
into this house for the third time, so you are very experienced.
I know, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chidoka. Chidoka, thank you for accepting to be guided by the House, please.
No problem.
Take your seat.
Motion stepped down by the leader of the House for further input. Thank you. The 10th order of the day is a motion calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to urgently deploy physical enumerators and other assistance to conduct new voter registration across party to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleague, I represent Malamudori Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I raise to move a motion for a call on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to urgently deploy physical enumerators and other assistance to conduct new voter registration across all federal constituencies. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, was established to, among other things, organize election in Nigeria, as well as put all necessary processes in place for the successful conduct of election in Nigeria. The House also notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is carrying out one of its constitutional duties, has put in place the machinery for the visual continuous voters registration CVR, which has been ongoing. The concern that my constituency, Malamudori Kaugama Federal Constituency, and many other federal constituencies have been placed at disadvantaged position due to the non-availability of registered voters, centers, and officials, inadequate power supply, insufficient official tools and equipment, as well as inadequate enlightenment program. The effect of these are low figure recorded within the constituencies. Worry that if the voter registration exercise is concluded without addressing the above-mentioned challenges, thousands of potential voters in Nigeria will be disemphasized during the forthcoming election. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, concern is that given current realities in the constituencies, INEC may need to engage in both physical and visual processes by introducing physical enumerators to make up for the lapses in the ongoing registration exercise. Resolved, urge the Independent National Electoral Commission to take immediate steps to conduct physical registration throughout the Federation. 2, mandate the Committee on Electoral Matters to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I so move. Thank you.
It is Amit, sorry, Honorable Amit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's not you, not you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleague, Bado Ahmed Yusuf is my name, member representing Shannon Ogoi Federal Constituency. I'm from Kano State, Mr. Speaker. I stand to second the motion, very important motion, heavily raised by honorable colleague, Mr. Maki Eliman. Mr. Speaker, I so second. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Gandhi.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm Yusuf Adamu Gagdi. Mr. Speaker, I represent Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the best motions I have heard in my lifetime in this hallowed chamber. Best because it's the motion that seeks to ensure that the people of Nigeria are not suffocated of their power to vote and be voted for. Mr. Speaker, it's a very short motion, but very rich at the same time. Rich in the sense that to some of us, Mr. Speaker, that represent rural constituencies, we will know the importance and value of this motion. But to others, Mr. Speaker, that represent metropolitan constituencies, they may not understand well how important this motion is to some of us. Mr. Speaker,
are they here? Are they here, the multiple representatives? Are they here?
They are not here, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
They are not here, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I represent a constituency that not up to 10% have access to telephone, not up to 10% have access to social media, not up to 10%, Mr. Speaker, have access to what INEC are using now to do the continuous voters registration. Mr. Speaker, until and unless the physical enumerators like it is done in the past, INEC are advised or compelled, in other words, to ensure that they employ ad hoc staff to go the four angles of Nigeria and ensure that they have captured citizens of this country who are eligible, who is not a privilege for them to participate in the forthcoming election. Within the 2019 to this moment, Mr. Speaker, so many Nigerians have reached the age of 18 years where they have the right, not the privilege, to participate in choosing leaders that will protect them, in choosing leaders that will speak for them, in choosing leaders that will provide dividends of democracy at their doorstep. So until INEC, Mr. Speaker, our advice, like the motion is calling, to put together physical enumerators in particularly rural areas where there are no technology that will help in facilitating the continuous voters registration. Do not hope, Mr. Speaker, at the end of the day, we would have protected the citizens of this country in ensuring that they have discharged their franchise by voting for the leaders that they want to vote. On behalf of myself, Mr. Speaker, and the people of Panshinkanje Kanam Federal Constituency, I support this motion in its entirety, absolutely. And I support completely, Mr. Speaker, the prayers embedded in this motion by compelling INEC to do the needful so that Nigerians, so that the issue of low voters continual registration will not be in our social media or in the media anymore. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that is my position and the position of the people that I represent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maybe before leadership are normally taken last.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, current members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno Ngenze Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, current members, this motion is a fun Nigerian motion. It's not a motion that is only limited to Honorable Maki's constituency. It's a fun Nigerian motion in the sense that, for example, in the northeastern part of the country, where telecommunication facilities has been completely destroyed, occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency, it is very difficult through the use of technology to register Nigerians to exercise their right of franchise to vote and to be voted for. So against this backdrop, particularly in the northeastern part of the country, and more particularly Borno State, that is the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency, where telecommunication facilities have been destroyed, occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency, this motion is apt and germane, and I support this motion in its entirety. And I commend Honorable Maki for this fun Nigerian motion that is not only limited to his constituency. And I urge my colleagues to support this motion with a spirit of light. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Aniek, and I'm a member representing the unique people of Abak, Etimekuika Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the vibrant state of Akwa Ibom. Mr. Speaker, I want to lend my voice in support of this very important motion moved by Honorable Maki, in the sense that it is important that INEC, beyond physical or whatever means that is proposed here, should provide more materials. Mr. Speaker, in all the constituencies and units, they lack the laptops and materials to even effect the registration. So many people are unable to register because they don't even have what they need. Sometimes you get to a local government INEC office, they may have just 1 or 2 laptops to take care of maybe up to 250 units. And they are not able to do this. And people still there every day waiting and nothing happens. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to expand this beyond physical movement of people. They must be provided with additional laptops and materials and more personnel. They should employ more people and more personnel and deploy them into rural communities to be able to register more Nigerians, because so many people are not registered. Even in the new units that have been created, Mr. Speaker, some of those units, they are unable to populate, transfer people to where they ought to be and get them on the database of INEC. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to join in saying that this is truly a Nigerian motion, and therefore I urge all my colleagues and everyone to support this motion, and I urge INEC, when this eventually comes, to take necessary steps to make sure that what Nigerians want happens. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
If you want to contribute, Madam? Okay. Well, I will come your way. Mariam, first. Mariam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I speak for the people of Isi Alambano, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise this morning to support this laudable motion. It is indeed a pan-Nigeria motion, and it's coming at a very good time when the Independent National Electoral Commission has recently just introduced new polling units. My contribution would be for INEC to actually embark on more robust awareness and advocacy in the new polling units and deploy alternative and fast data facilities to ensure that the registration process is seamless and is easier. During the Yuletide, I was privileged to visit some of the INEC facilities to see how the process was going. And I found out that it came with a lot of challenges. Some of the infrastructure and the data facilities were not really fast enough. So you had a lot of queues. So I align myself totally with what my colleagues have said on the need for INEC to deploy additional staffs and create and bring the registration point closer to the people rather than what it obtains now, where people have to go to the INEC headquarters of their various local governments for them to be able to be captured. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I totally support this motion. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. My brother from Bielsa. Question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Ben Roland Igbakba. I represent Ethiopia East, Ethiopia West, and by the special grace of God, we are from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, from my introduction, you know that I represent 2 local governments. And the 2 local governments have two registration points. So far, as leaders and as representatives, we are made, after an extended meeting with INEC, we had to go get computers. You know, this registration is done in 2 phases. First, you have to do the registration before you go to INEC for the physical data capture. And Mr. Speaker, after going through this rigor, to get the people to INEC, you have to charter vehicles from time to time. And that is not supposed to be the responsibilities of leaders and people that are supposed to come and vote. And these are the things that bring about voters' apathy. The people in the village does not know the ones that you have done for. Even when you get to INEC most times, they don't have the facility to register these people. You charter a vehicle, take people to INEC center because it's just one. You see people coming from various units, various wards, and there's nothing to do. So it is timely, and I want to thank my colleague for bringing this motion. Let us tell INEC to decentralize the registration so that everybody, every nook and cranny, units, if not wards, if we can't get units, let us get to wards so that people can actually get to the registration point on time and get people registered. Since 2019 to date, a lot of people has grown into 18 years, and some persons are even changing their voting point so that they can all be given the opportunity to exercise their right when it's time for election. Thank you very much, Honorable Maki, for bringing this to our attention. It's actually a pan-Nigerian motion, and I believe all of us are in support of this motion. Thank you very much.
Oba Atekwaye.
You will come. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Ogbede Ihama.
Where have you been?
I represent the people of Oredo Federal Constituency. I'm a Benin Prince and I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, first let me appreciate my colleague, Honorable Maki, for this all-important motion that borders on registering Nigerians and as a means to avoid Nigerians that have come of age from being disenfranchised. However, Mr. Speaker, I forwarded an amendment to this motion. It's not an amendment that has to do with the existing resolution, but an add-on to this resolution. Mr. Speaker, every colleague of mine that has spoken here today has spoken in favor of this motion because strengthening the electoral process is very key to us as a nation and as voice of the people and our constituents. Mr. Speaker, after you register people and you now introduce voting points, and these voting points are now put at various junctions where adequate security is not guaranteed, Mr. Speaker, INEC must be made to understand that it might be effort in futility. Mr. Speaker, if you have primary schools that are fenced round and you want to introduce voting points, you would rather extend voting points within those schools that are secured. But Mr. Speaker, like in my constituency, while thanking INEC for introducing voting points, but when you put a voting point at a major junction where the vendor sells newspaper, or at another junction where barbecue and suya is being made, it's unfortunate that on election day, Mr. Speaker, hoodlums can easily drive by and just shoot gun to the air, and all those votes will be wasted. So, Mr. Speaker, my amendment is Resolution 3 to urge INEC to please ensure that introduced voting points are located in secured centers. There will be no need to introduce a voting point at the junction of a road where we don't even have enough security personnel on an election day. So that's my amendment as Resolution 3 added to this. My prayer, while commending Honorable Maki for this laudable motion. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Diaspora.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Honorable Victor Melat Danzaria, I represent the people of Balanga Billiri Federal Constituency. Your Excellency, I'm from Gombe State. Your Excellency, first, I want to thank Honorable Maki for this good job. This is a national issue, and it's so important to all Nigerians. Nigerians have changed from money politics to a better politicking. And for us to produce a better politicking in this country and the process, every Nigerian at a certain age should be given the opportunity for that. Mr. Speaker, this is an important motion, and I would like to add, because of its importance at this time of good governance and good people to govern Nigeria, I feel and I think the National Orientation Agency should be given an opportunity to sensitize Nigerians very well on this issue of voters registration. What INEC is doing is good, but in addition to what INEC is doing in terms of sensitization and telling Nigerians about this exercise, I think the National Orientation could help in sensitizing Nigerians. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Shehu Barwabeji. I represent the people of Boso, Paikoro Federal Constituency, and I come from Niger State. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to support and commend the mover of this motion from Mikey, that the motion is very timely. The peculiar reason I want to add to the previous speakers' cases presented is you all aware that INEC some time ago, last year, increased the voting points across the country. But there was no proper sensitization and information, education on those voting points. So this makes it very necessary and important to have the physical registration so as to allow the people in various voting points really identify where they are to register and to vote. We all know the immediate past elections, it was being granted that so many voting points recorded no voting. And I'm quite sure it was this lack of information, sensitization, and education that made it impossible for some people, some voters to locate their own voting points. So by having this physical registration, I'm definitely sure those who did not have proper information as to where the new centers are will now identify their centers. Thank you very much.
Benny Lara, and then the leader will cap it for us. They will put the question.
Important motion. Mr. Speaker, as we're all aware, and as we've said here on the floor of the House, the right to vote and be voted for is the right of every Nigerian. Any action taken by INEC is supposed to enforce these rights and not deprive Nigerians of accessing this very basic right. Unfortunately, the whole concept of online registration has gone wrong. It has further disenfranchised many rural Nigerians rather than enfranchising them. The reason being, number one, like we've said in the rural areas, in the northeast and many areas, poor access to network. And Mr. Speaker, just like we've said, what has made it even more cumbersome is that usually there's one, after you are captured, after you do your online registration, which in some areas you cannot even access the telecommunication systems, then you have to go to one point, like one headquarters of INEC, everybody in that constituency. How will those people transport themselves? How will they get there and register themselves? It has made it difficult. So many people prefer to stay home or go about their normal activities. Mr. Speaker, the big concern here is that there's a time frame INEC has put in for registration. And my amendment is that INEC extend the time frame for voters' registration, because online registration alone is not capturing most Nigerians. By this time last year, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the statistics of last year and the statistics of this year, you'll find out that it's almost more than 10 times more people were registered manually by this time last year. So online registration hasn't helped us. So we need to not only ensure that we mix both physical, manual, and online at the same time, which means INEC going physically to all the voting centers and make sure that there's time enough. The sad thing about it is INEC has a policy that any center that doesn't register up to a minimum amount will be closed down, any new voting points. I don't think this is a policy that is fair on Nigerians. I don't think any voting center should be closed down simply because people didn't show up to vote. It is not by their wish. It's simply because the necessary facilitation by INEC was not done. So, Mr. Speaker, I will even want to add another amendment that voting centers, no voting center be closed down due to poor registration figures. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But my amendment is very clear, that the time frame be extended, that no voting center be closed down, and also that the committee, that INEC reports to the committee on a monthly basis, because I'm also a member of the Electoral Matters Committee, that they give us the figures on a monthly basis of what the figures are across the nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Leader of the House will cap it up for us.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my respected colleagues, members of these hallowed chambers. Honorable Ado Dogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I represent the good people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. I am from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek your indulgence to, of course, take advantage of not being superfluous to the import of this motion, because I believe so many members have spoken positively and sufficiently enough as regards the motive and the intent of the motion. But may I rise for the purposes of ownership, because I've seen members from the far south, I've seen members from the southwest, I've seen members from the north central, I have seen members from the southeast, I have seen members from the northeast, and indeed the motion is a northwest-based motion. I rise to concur with Honorable Monguno, the Chief Whip of the House, that this motion is no longer a local motion. It's now a Nigerian motion. It is a motion for this House, and this House must own it up. And that is just what I'm doing on behalf of the leadership and members of this House, that this motion is our own motion. Mr. Speaker, I would like to commend him, for he has brought a very popular motion, a motion that definitely and very precisely speaks to our electoral procedures, a motion that is quite timely at the moment when this practice is being carried out by INEC. Mr. Speaker, a motion which has just come up immediately after we have passed the Electoral Act. Honorable members, distinguished colleagues, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, I would like to say without any fear of contradiction that this motion has summed all our opinions, and on behalf of the people of the good people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that we represent. I therefore would like to say, Mr. Speaker, after thanking Honorable Maki, that we adopt this motion as our own motion, because, like I said, it has spoken directly to the concerns we have about registration. It is a motion also that seeks to address some of the deficiencies and major concerns of our electoral procedures and our voting system. Mr. Speaker, like Benilar had mentioned, it is a motion that wants to further empower our people so that no one of us will be left out of roll, register roll. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I therefore want to plead with the principal mover of the motion that when it comes to the level of amendment, that wherever the motion refers to Malamodori Federal Constituency, be deleted and now refer to all the federal constituencies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Maki, we have at this level whisked away your motion and adopted it as House motion, even though you have the credit of bringing it up to the floor of the House of Representatives. I thank you, and I hope you keep the flag flying. Mr. Speaker, thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The first amendment is from Prince Ihema. No, it's not about spoken. He have written officially.
Live proceedings from the Green Chamber, that's the House of Representatives, is what you're watching live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. At the moment, members are debating a motion from Abubakar Maki Aliman calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to urgently deploy physical enumerators and other assistance in conduct of the new voter registration across all federal constituencies in the country. And this is where we come to the end of the live telecast. We thank you for your time. I'm Lami Ali, thanking you for staying tuned with the NTA and urge you to remain as we resume regular program.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere.